Now, this is just stitched out the placement line for the ears. So when we grab the ears, what we need to do is we need to place them on the doll's head. Now, this is quite often a mistake that happens, in that if we were to put the the back of the head on top of this and stitch round, when we turn it through, the ears will be on the inside and not on the outside. So to avoid that, you turn them round. I'd prefer to have them with kind of the widest bit at the top. It's shorter here than it is here. So the wider bit at the top and the shorter bit down here. Just a personal preference, doesn't matter which way around you have them. And then I pop them on, and what I do is I check that the stitches start over the edge of the placement line, so you're not getting a gap between them. Now, I like to do them at the same time. So again, top of the ear at the top, pop them down, make sure that the stitching line, the first set of stitches, is over the other side of the placement line, like that. So now we just got to make sure that these are sitting right, and they should be, as long as you've got the same sort of gap on the stitches, and they tend to be set right. Now, even without being able to raise your foot, I am going to double check and just see what my foot is. My foot is actually at 1.5. I'm not going to raise the foot because at this point I don't need to. So, but I only raise the foot if I have to. So I'm quite happy with the way that's sitting, the way that one's sitting. I know they're going to be stitched. Now, should you have problems, then of course you can raise your foot. I choose not to do so unless I have to, and in my case, in this instance, I don't need to. So if you're having a problem, then what you can do, rather than letting it stitch, holding it down and then letting it come across, what you could do is advance a few stitches so that you're actually starting on the ear. The reason why you can do that is because when this when the face piece gets put on top, sorry, the back gets put on top, it'll go round and it stitches around, and that will hold the whole of the ear, so it doesn't matter if you've advanced a bit. So that's what we'll do, just to show. So we're going to advance. So I'm only going to come forward enough to, oops, wrong button. I'm only going to go forward enough. So there we go. So 10 stitches, that was nice and easy. Make sure I'm happy with the placement, the way they're sitting, and I am. Hold it down because it's not secured in place. So you do need to hold it down, and we will let that do its thing. Once it's stitched there, it's not going to go anywhere. So do you see how I've missed the top? Now, one of the things with that is it does mean that you're able to get your needle up and over should you need to. If you don't need to, you don't need to do this. I mean, you know, it's when you're used to it, you just hold it in place. It's not something you need to do. But if it's something this first time or something you have a problem with, then yeah, go for it. I'll do it again on this side, and I'll see you in a minute. Right, so one of the things you might want to keep an eye on is the fact that this does not stop. When it goes over to do the next ear, it doesn't stop. So you have to stop it just to make sure that you can that the ear is in the right place and you're happy with it. So we let it go. And then I press stop because it means I've got control back then. I'm going to raise the foot. And again, same thing as before. We want personally, I like the ear this way round. I find the other way it just looks a bit droopy, but it's just personal preference. So we do the same thing. We want it on the inside of the head. So when we turn it inside out, it's the right way. We put it on put it over the placement line for the ear, which is further out than the face. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room there. And we make sure that it's going to stitch. Now, again, we don't have to do it right from the start. So, you know, you don't have to do it from the start, because if your foot will raise enough, then it can just go round. However, if you're new to it or you've had problems, because do you know what, there's different things one will find easier, another will find a bit more difficult. So we can just do the same again, and we're just going to advance a few stitches, as you can see. Now all I'm doing here, I'm just making sure that I'm happy with the placement and that I have made sure that the seams for the ear are sitting on the outside of the placement ear and not on the inside of the placement line. So on the other ear, I advanced it and I stitched the stitches there, which is the easy way to do it. However, the stitch line for the placement line for the ear isn't that big. So as you can see, I can hold the ear down and the foot will go on top, and all I've got to do is support it to make sure it continues to do that. Which it always does. Now, yes, I don't know if you noticed, it pulled the fabric slightly, but it's fine because it's just pulling through this empty piece, so it really doesn't matter if it does that. But yeah, so either way, it's quite easy. And now all we have to do is put the back on top, which I'll quickly do now, rather than doing it all separately. So this is what we did before. We took it out. It had the neck joint support, and we took it out because we had to replace it with a piece of fabric that would allow us to stitch out the face. So we have to put the fabric back under, face side down, with your lining. And then what we're doing is we need to line up the joint support circle here, as you can see. So if we take this down here, because we want it, the line here that was stitched, if you remember, was to allow us to know where the center of the head is. So that's what we want to do. So we bring down the outline of the circle for the stitches, so it can, you know, stitch support circle that you put the joint through. So what I need to do now is I can feel where the ear is. I'm feeling where that is, and I can feel the front. I can see where the foot is, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press down. Sorry, it's awkward because I'm trying to be sure I show you what I'm doing. So I'm pressing down on the ear, because that's all it needs to do, is just get over that first little lump. Now it's awkward because it can't leave your finger here because obviously they get got by this post, so it's a bit awkward, but it should be fine because it's already been stitched down and in place. But I just like to make sure by pushing it down first off, and then I don't know if you can see this as well. I'm gonna press go, and I think it's just going to do its thing. Should I need to do anything, I'm going to stop it before I put my fingers there, because for me it's a little bit dangerous because I can't actually see what's going on. So gonna be doing that. See the lump of the ears here, so I know I need the machine to go up and over that, so I'm making sure that it did. So that's the way to do it, is to slow it down. And when you've got a little bit more experience, and you may know your machine well, or you may be completely new to this, then at least you know, and I hope this has given you the confidence to go ahead and try this even if your foot doesn't raise. It's an important part of making a doll, is learning these tips and tricks and techniques. These are, I'm trying to show that even as a beginner, and even someone completely new to embroidery in the hoop as a whole, will understand and get the information they need to so they can make beautiful dolls, which is what the end result I want for everyone, is for them to make beautiful dolls. So there we are, all finished. I've just put a dummy. When my kits come with little plastic dummies, and in order to keep them on the face, we use magnets. And so there's a magnet in here, and I've just put it on top of the mouth, and then put some fabric type tape that doesn't come off, and then we've got the dummy, which obviously that won't go on there, I'm just showing you, that will turn through, and then the dummy goes on.